I think we need to do a verbal attendance, right, Mimi, when we're on Zoom? Okay. So, let's see. Oh, and Tui is joining us. How exciting. So we have a guest this evening. Thanks for joining, Tui.
Hi, Tui.
Um, let's see. Okay, so let's see. Sue Beck.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Jen Kelly
Here.
Wales. Okay. Chris Randall.
Here.
Okay. Mimi.
Present.
And did I get
And
Anne? I should just go around my clock here instead. And Tui as our guest. You're on mute, so I think you can unmute yourself.
Oh, I can unmute myself, but I cannot unvideo myself.
Oh, okay.
The host has to do that.
and then who's Eric's iPad?
I don't know. It's a mystery person. Can Eric's iPad unmute themselves? Hey, hi, Tui. Okay, well, maybe we'll just have a mystery guest for a bit, unless we need to identify Mimi, or maybe we can fit.
There he is.
Just a West Concord citizen interested in one of the topics.
Oh, lovely.
Great.
Glad to have you.
Can we get Eric's last name?
Eric, can you identify yourself for the minutes that we need to record?
He's on mute still.
People who are guests don't have to identify
Oh,
themselves.
they don't? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. So, first thing we were going to do is Mimi, just to give us a quick tutorial on the new Zoom procedures, which don't seem to be in effect, but maybe for next meeting, just so we know what to expect.
Yeah, I'm still getting the
Approval of
sorry,
the minutes. Do we have to do the approval of the minutes first, or?
Oh, I had that at a different place in the agenda, but
Okay.
maybe we do. I don't know. Does that have to be very first thing, Mimi?
no.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Just trying to be clerk.
We're all learning.
So about the Zoom, there has been a whole bunch of different shenanigans in recent months. So the IT department has cracked down on
Maybe we can mute. Sorry, there's some background noise that's making it hard to hear. So why don't we all mute?
All right, so the IT has for all of the town Zoom accounts are making it more secure, new security measures. So making by default that there's a waiting room, that people have to be granted permission to unmute, to not be able to change their name, to not have control of being able to screen share and things like that. So I'm still figuring out this is kind of a lower profile meeting as opposed to like the select board. So chances are we're a little less prone to it. And I'm still kind of figuring out exactly how looks like our settings weren't changed for this meeting. But just to be aware that both for this one and other ones, it's going to be a little more locked down. So for example, like not being able to chat during the meeting, that sort of thing, those things have to be shut off.
Thank you. So now, did you just unmute all of us now, or okay?
I didn't mute anybody, but I did change the settings so it does saying that people have to unmute them, that people can't unmute themselves. But I think we might be safe enough. We're going to assume that Eric is not a wild man.
Okay.
And, if not,
right.
I could just suspend everybody.
Yeah, I just got a pop-up when I tried to unmute myself, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so procedures taken care of. Thank you, Mimi. And just for fun, we'll just do a quick speed check-in since it's been several months since we've all seen each other's smiling faces on Zoom or in person. So your assignment for our pre-check-in was to share one West Concord treasure where you spent a lot of time this summer. So it could be a coffee shop, it could be a special walking path, it could be your couch, it could be anything. So, Sue, what treasure did you enjoy this summer?
I'd probably say the bike trail.
All right, nice. Jen? Oh, you're on mute.
White Pond.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be, I'm doing a 2 on that one. Chris, what's your treasure?
White Pond, but in particular, the terrace that they built halfway up the hill.
Yes.
And the last time I was there, there was a bluegrass band that had set up under that awning that was doing a rehearsal. And so we sat there for an hour listening to just excellent bluegrass music there at the conservatory here in West Concord. And they had chosen White Pond Terrace to set up and do one of their rehearsals. It was
wow.
magical.
Lucky you. That sounds fun.
Awesome.
Anne.
Chris, I was also there for the bluegrass rehearsal. Lots of fun. Yeah, White Pond was definitely ours as well. Very special.
Awesome. Mimi.
I would say Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. I've been going up and down. I think I've done the entire length, definitely like every square inch along the Concord stretch.
Sweet. Very nice. Tui, what have you discovered?
Well, aside from my sister who lives on Highland Street, who's a rare gem, I love the Minuteman in Wonderland at the Fowler Branch. That's quite a painting.
Woohoo! Eric, would you like to contribute what your treasure was this summer? And you don't have to if you would rather pass. So we'll assume you're passing, or maybe you can go after Margot. So Margot was the last person.
Well, the much more, what would you say? It's much more humble now than White Pond, but Warner Pond. So my 93-year-old mother lives with us, and she's very limited in her mobility. And she is so happy to we drive our car to the parking lot, and then I get out her rollator, and she walks slowly down to the little path along the pond, and we sit in one of those little there are different little spots to sit. And she is so happy just to be there. And I mean, we have been watching, all of the plants growing up to the surface and the water kind of disappearing over the course of the summer. But still, it's been lovely to have that there.
Well, it is definitely a treasure for sure. Okay, well, thank you for that. It was just a nice way to kick off the meeting since we haven't seen each other, and we hopefully all had lovely summers. All right. So now, Jen, you'll be very happy to know we'll move on to approving the meeting minutes from the June 10th meeting. And did anyone see any corrections or additions that might have been neglected that need to be included in those minutes before we move to approve them? All right, sounds like none. So anyone want to move to approve the minutes? Sue Beck.
I'll second.
And Chris Randall seconds. Because we're on Zoom, I have to go around and get eyes from everyone individually. So Sue Beck.
Aye.
And I say aye. Jen.
Aye.
And Anne.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Okay, and those are all the voting members, so thank you for that. Next on the agenda was welcoming Maureen, who's our new committee member. Unfortunately, she was away on business again today, so she's not able to join us. So we will push that on to our October meeting. And I also wanted to make sure that everyone on the committee has access to our committee's Google Drive, because we keep all of our agendas and our minutes and our photos and everything there. It needs a little bit of organization, but I think those of us who frequent it regularly are trying to keep it somewhat organized. But Sue Beck, I know you have access because you helped me regain mine. But is anyone else having trouble? And I did give it to Maureen as well, so you all have access. Awesome. Okay. Good. That makes me feel happy. Okay, now this is like a tricky part of the discussion, not tricky, the more detailed is the update on our benches that we had voted last meeting to include in our budget. So Mimi, I'm going to turn that over to you so you can share the locations and any other salient information, and then we can figure out what we want to do on the plaques.
Sure. The select board approved the placing of benches. So one in front of, so two of them are in public spaces, one in front of the West Concord Tavern, and then one at the Poetry Phone. And then they also approved a bike rack at Tea Cakes. And it turns out we didn't have to raise money for that. I was over at the Peabody School and they had this really cool artist bike rack there. And I'm like, if nobody else is using it, can I commandeer it? So they've already delivered it over there. And Olivia at Tea Cakes is going to have it installed on the plaza. So it hasn't quite been installed yet.
Well done.
So yeah, so the funding that the committee set aside for benches enabled me to buy 2 benches, which were delivered to, what's today? Today's Tuesday, Wednesday? It was delivered on Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, it was delivered today.
Mhm.
And Public Works is going to go and install them. And we want to have a plaque to recognize the donation by the committee. So it's 1.5 inches by, I believe, 8 inches. So it's a pretty narrow plaque. Because we are using Mass Cultural Council funding, we have to recognize them. And we can't fit too many words on there. I sent to Sue the estimated word count, which I think is like 12 words.
Right. Total,
fit on
right?
Total, yeah.
Yeah. And Mimi, you would also share, which was helpful to know, that the Mass Cultural Council can be the logo. We don't have to write that whole thing out, so that will save
Yep.
a tiny bit of the text.
Yep.
So, and I also wondered, Mimi, if you could help us before we start discussing this, because if we say given by or a gift of the West Concord Cultural District Committee, we've already consumed most of our text. So is that just what we have to work with, or will the font get really tiny, or?
If folks want, I can bring up my Canva account where I had done the other plaque and we could kind of play around a little bit.
Mhm.
So
That would be
I-
helpful.
In the meantime, I'm inclined to say that I just feel that anything else would be a distraction, like just short and sweet, because if there's too much language and too small a space, nobody's going to read any of it. I think just
Yeah.
being a gift from the West Concord Cultural District Committee, and just that's it. And people can make of the bench what they will, because people will use it for different reasons. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I also think maybe a more readable typeset. Something maybe more contemporary.
Let me just try to get the Mass Cultural Council logo while I'm here. We can.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
How about if we say given by instead of a gift from? That's good.
Sue, on the email that you sent, you also you offered a bunch of possibilities, but made possible with Massachusetts Cultural Council funding. Is a little clearer than made possible by the Massachusetts Cultural Council because it references the funding. Now that's an extra word, so I'm not sure.
Well, you could take out by the,
Um,
or funded by the Massachusetts Cultural Council.
oh yeah, no, that's nice.
I think it's implied if we have the logo there.
Yeah,
This
I
is so
think so
much
too.
cleaner, and then people will actually kind of notice and remember what it says.
And do we want a date?
Hmm.
You know, the year?
Nice idea.
Can we put both? Can we put our logo on it too? What if we put their logo on one end and ours on the other?
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good
that
idea.
Mass Cultural Council logo to me right now feels a little base. They're kind of fighting. It looks a little big.
Yeah,
And I put it on the other side so that the M, that straight line, is kind of a divider. Right now, the words bleed into each other, but
Mhm.
if you put that logo on the right, it's a cleaner. Um,
do you think we need the date? Well, we don't need the date.
I I don't think we need a date.
I don't
Yeah.
think we need the date. I'd rather put our logo there.
yeah.
Our logo on one side and theirs on the other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does our
That-
logo feel repetitive with the words,
I
though?
don't
What-
know. Let's see. Our logo is so cool.
But our logo is also much busier than the Mass Cultural Council one, so
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if we could just bold our name, so it's given by the, and then, a slightly different font, or just bolding the West Concord Cultural District Committee, so it kind of pops.
I'll be right back. I have to take something out of the oven.
yeah, I like the. That's
Got
the
Word junction.
Uh-oh,
yeah,
that's the
that's
wrong
the old
one.
logo.
Yeah. It's going to be very tiny. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think people are going to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's my feeling is it's repetitive, so I
Yeah.
like the cleaner look without it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
But when shouldn't given by the be smaller than the West Concord Cultural District Committee?
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So the top line should be smaller, I think. Or do we want donated by, funded by?
I like given.
I think given is nice.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sounds warmer.
Yeah. Everyone likes presents. It's a gift.
Right.
I don't know
All right.
Canva well enough to do anything fancier.
All right.
That's good.
So let's see. And Margot, with your artistic eye, do you have any other thoughts on this? I don't know if she's still on here.
Oh, I, I don't, it seems fine to me. It's not really my art area. This is more graphic design, which might not seem that different, but for example, I have no opinion about fonts, which I know is like bizarre.
Wow.
People who
Okay.
understand fonts.
I think the MCC could be smaller. It feels too
But
large.
basically, what you should do is anticipate that you're going to stand about 5 feet back from this.
Yeah. But
So
in
that's
terms of
the
relative
actual-
to the other text, should it be this?
We want to be more important.
Yeah. I think it's,
Yeah, there you go.
I think it shouldn't fight
And a little smaller.
really with attention with our,
There you go.
yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Is this going to be black lettering on what kind of plaque is it?
It's a brass plaque that's engraved.
Hmm,
Oh,
fancy.
nice.
All right. So, any other thoughts, or would we like to take a vote on this?
I like
To
it.
take a vote.
Okay. So, Anne moved to approve the graphic as displayed for the plaque by Mimi.
I second it.
Sue Beck seconds. Again, we have to go around the block. So, Chris,
I approve.
okay. Anne again.
I approve.
Okay. Sue,
I approve.
and I approve. And Jen.
Approve.
Okay. We have a winner. Yay.
All
But
right.
who put together all these cute little things? I feel
I
bad. we
can now
couldn't
not
see
hear any of you.
Oh no.
Oh,
Weird. Although he can't hear us say any of those things.
anything. We heard you. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Tui, must be on your end, Tui, or else, well, we can't, can we chat with him? Is chat off?
Well, if everything
As
else is
the host.
enabled, then we should be able to do that, I would think.
I'll just say Tui, no, I couldn't. New chat?
We're not allowed to do chats because it's a
Okay.
public meeting.
Well, if anyone has Tui's number, maybe you can text him.
Yeah.
Is this an ethics thing where they're worried about us conspiring behind the scenes or something? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of considered like a side conversation,
Yeah.
not being public.
Okay.
Okay. And I was going to replace the welcoming of Maureen since she wasn't here with just a little summer retrospective. And Mimi, I sent you a file. Can you share that, or do you want me to share it from my screen?
Well, let me set it up because then it's hard when I share, then I lose all my ability to see things. So
Oh dear.
I just made you host so you can.
Okay. And I haven't shared for a long time on this. Let me see. Oh goodness. Content only. I don't know what and it's not giving me a picture of what I'm looking at, so I can't see what I'm sharing. It just says Google Chrome unknown. So
What were you trying to share, Sue?
it was a just fun little slideshow that I made for just like with some great pictures from the summer of all the projects that we had going on this summer, even though we weren't meeting.
Mimi,
So
if you're the host, can you somehow enable sound?
The problem is on your end. It's you.
I can turn my microphone off and on, but I cannot enable all of your sound.
I'll send Tui an email just to say.
Is your
Yeah.
Hold on. Once again,
is
do it
your-
again.
Oh,
I've heard that before.
Can you hear us now, Tui?
I'm wondering if you should log back out.
Yeah.
And then log back in.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mimi, I was sharing my
Okay.
whole screen, but now it has the security and privacy setting that I have to allow it to share, which I thought I did. Oh, it's a really cute slideshow. I want to show you guys. I worked so hard on it. Aw.
Why don't you re-email it to me, Sue, and then we can bring it up later in the agenda.
Okay. If I share it with you, or do you need it emailed?
Why
If
don't you just
email's easier, if email's easier, I'll do that.
Yeah, just email it and then.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Sorry, y'all. Hopefully it will be worth it.
Oh, actually, I've got it from what I didn't see.
I sent it earlier. Yeah. Do you want me to send it again?
No, I got it.
Okay. Do you want to share it now, or do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to put it in slideshow mode, but it'd probably be better if you're able to. Just go in the upper right where it says slideshow, way upper right near the share button. Yeah, there you go. Nice. So I just thought it'd be fun to see all the work that we did over the summer because June was a very long time ago. So you can do the next slide. You just go through these pretty quickly, Mimi. So if you remember, the art loop hadn't been laid down at the time of our last meeting. So I'm sure all of you have looked around, but I can't tell you how many times I've watched people like stop in their tracks, appreciate the artwork. So, and I know this was a ton of work on your end. So thank you very much for bringing so much joy to so many people. Okay, you can do the next one. And then Jen, I know you've seen this picture, but this is Sue Gladstone's neighbor's daughter, I think. Anyway, she's a 7-year-old and she submitted a poem and she's there listening to her own poem. So I just thought that was cute. And Jen, of course, installed, the summer versions. And now Mike Sprague is in the process. You can't really see it well in this picture, but it's dug up all around and he pulled out 15 5-gallon buckets of rocks to enable the dirt to be there to plant, put plantings around it. So those of you who know Mike can thank him for his labors. It will look beautiful. And then if any of you have been by the kiosk, Chris and Ann, whoever was working on it, I noticed that the postings seem to stay updated nicely. So whoever's curating, thank you. We have pom-poms at the bottom. So it was pretty fun, just like to pop by and see that. And then the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. So I'm glad to hear that so many of you have been frequenting it this summer, but there's a before and after. So we put a blue border, I shouldn't say we, Jenna Anderson's partner Ace painted a blue border around it. And it really makes the mural pop. So he donated his time to do that, which was really great because he did it in the middle of the heat wave. One of the many heat waves this summer.
But what about the garden? Are you going to do that? Okay.
Thanks, Margo. All right. And then we put in, below that, we put in a pollinator garden. So if you see the little sign on the big photo that says pollinator pathway. So we are going to be on the map, the pollinator pathway. There's the people who are on that committee and the advisory committee in town have a map of all the pollinator gardens in, I don't even know if I guess it's all of Concord and West Concord. So anyway, so we are on their map as well as the Bruce Freeman the mural map for West Concord. So I think was that the last one?
Right. And that really is Sue with a pickaxe, you guys. Come on. You got it.
I'll tell you, all the stuff around the rail trail is just a bed of rocks because that's what they put the tracks down. So okay, that was just for fun, but we did a lot of stuff over the summer. So
thanks for doing that, Sue.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I thought we would just go back and revisit some of the projects that we were working on. And if you guys don't have updates or just like 1 or 2 sentences, that's fine. Don't feel like you need to fill the 5 minutes or so. But the West Concord Art Loop, and I don't know if there was after you finally got everything put down, any updates?
Yeah, so everything was put down and I haven't seen a single issue. Nothing is coming up. There are no corners peeling. So that feels really good. We've gotten a lot of really positive feedback, people saying that they have enjoyed it. And we've even had some art acquisitions that I know about that have come about through the Art Loop, where people fallen in love with the piece, contacted the artist, and then bought the piece from them because they had the exposure on the art. So that was heartening as well, helping to get artists' work seen. And so I think it's been a really positive experience, and it's hopefully gonna make the duration. So I guess something we can talk about next is exactly when we were thinking about pulling them up because they are doing so well. And I was thinking that maybe we could keep them up through the Fall Fest or the whatever it is, Fall Day.
Discover West Concord Day.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
What's that
awesome.
date?
October 18th.
And are we obliged to take them up? I mean, they do seem to be very solidly adhered.
I think we would have to, so the select board approved them for a certain duration of time, and I think that was until November. So that's right around the West Concord Fall Day. So if we wanted to keep them up longer than that, I think we would probably have to get some sort of additional permission for that. And I know that a concern of theirs was that it could be slick, you know, when there is snow and that kind of thing, and ice and that sort of thing. So, but you know, I think now if we wanted to do a second iteration of this in the future, I think it would be a lot easier to pull off because I, you know, already figured out how to build a website, and there are a lot of things that I could have done to streamline to make it easier that now I know, you know, in hindsight. And then the other thing is just people get it now, you know, explaining it before was kind of, and so now people are like, oh yeah, so I want to be a part of that. How can I be a part of that? So yeah, I think we could definitely generate a second call in a future year if that was something that we wanted to replicate without too much effort.
One thing I love the art walk, but they were all installed upside down. Everyone I went to, it was like upside down. No, I'm just.
Because you're walking in the opposite way.
You obviously walked the wrong
Oh,
way.
you mean I went the? Oh.
Yeah.
We're walking backwards,
You were
Chris.
walking the wrong way.
No,
And do we know what kind
sorry,
of shape
but
they're in when
one
you
thing,
take them up?
what I meant to say is, when we do put the next one down, I wonder if putting them sideways, like by more parallel to the curb, lets people pass and in each direction and see them, you know, without having directionality to it. So the head is toward the street and the curb, and the foot is toward the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's definitely something we could consider. I think the idea was for it to be like this cohesive thing, so you wouldn't have to stop at each piece. It's kind of like you could just look down and go. But yeah, you're right. If you're going the opposite way, it's not so good, right? So I don't. We could definitely talk about that. And so you would ask what kind of shape they're in. When we did the sample decal, it came up quite easily, but it was definitely, it was kind of like the back had little tiny pieces of gritty rock, and
dirt
it
and
was like
everything,
yucky. Yeah, like there was nothing to be done with them.
Okay,
They're kind of, once they're off, they're
Yeah.
trash. Yeah.
okay.
Right. Thank you, Anne. Poetry phone update, Jen.
Okay, hold on. I'm just
Typing away.
minuting. Okay. Yeah, so we did a June call for poetry. We had 62 submissions, which is a little less than the year before, but partly I think because I started this call too late. We started it in June, and I think the year before we did it in April, which is probably a better time to get people's attention. We had so a lot fewer submissions from kids, particularly the high school kids. We had a lot from middle school, which was pretty cool. And just only a few from elementary. So I want to think about that, and I've already been talking to some of the team about doing a special call for students. Like Anne is saying, second time around is a lot easier. It's a lot of juggling of spreadsheets and information, but we had a great committee of poetry reviewers, some of which are on this committee. Chris helped with adult, and Anne helped with the youth. We had 4 people reviewing for adults and 3 for the youth poetry. This summer, we picked this, the summer series is up. Fall will be starting in early October. And yeah, Mike Sprague is doing that, as we mentioned, the landscaping work right now, which is a lot of work, but he's doing, he's going to do a beautiful job as he does with everything. I am thinking about doing a winter poetry event again at Fowler. That was just such a fun thing. So we'll probably be talking about that uh, at some point. I can't even think about it until I get through October. So. And that is that.
Okay. And then you can continue on with any leftovers from Porch Fest.
I should also say there's some awesome poems coming up. You have to make sure you go in here. I mean, just yeah, there are several. I loved all of them. That we, many really, really good poems and some really exceptional poems. And there's a few really, really special ones up right now. They're all wonderful, but you'll know what I mean when you go and listen to them. Um,
Good commercial. I like it.
yeah. Porch Fest. I am going to just read Jen Mopbach's notes. Bear with me because it wasn't our greatest year simply because we had weather, and it was also the day of the No Kings event in Boston and Concord, and I think that depleted some of our audience. But it was still a very happy occasion. There was a little bit of an incident at the club car, so there's some relations there that need to be worked on. The owner there was not very kind or polite to the band leader, who happened to be Jen Mottbach's husband, when they went to set up there. But they all worked it out, and everything I think was hunky dory. I think they got beyond that. But there was a permit. Mimi, do you know about this? I think I could follow up later, but there was some question about who was and should have been informed and wasn't informed. Um, anyway, we can talk about it later. There still, I think, are some challenges around noise bleed from bands into acoustics area. I think that Jen is thinking that we should cap the number of bands and set up the individual soloists, singer-songwriter types in like one area that is like a rotating stage of singers, so that it's really hard for individual soloists to compete on a street with other larger ensembles. They don't get the same kind of traffic. So if we consolidated individual artists in one performance space as a rotating thing, that might work out much better. And I welcome Chris or Sue back to jump in here if I'm missing something. Uh, we will, I think, we didn't, Sue Beck and I didn't love having our hub at the Concord Youth Theater the way we thought we would. It's kind of buried there. We think next year it might make sense to rent, instead of working with the rec department, rent tents that can be hardy tents with windproof, equipment that can be set up for us and then picked up later. So to have, larger and more visible performance spaces as a hub area at the Harvey Wheeler location. And I think the businesses were happy, maybe happier this year than they've been in the past. What do you think, Sue Beck?
I think they were. I think it was really great that we had bands in the business area. And the businesses were just more aware of people being around. So yeah, I think everybody that had a band there, they really liked it.
Great. Yeah, that's what I was hearing too. I think the signage was much improved this year. The wayfinding really helped. Volunteers spread out in the neighborhood, I think, was a better plan this year. We do think that we're going to need maybe to utilize volunteers next year to help monitor the bands and their timing. Some bands just were playing right through their right into other people's time. And it's kind of awkward for the host or someone else to manage that or the other band. So we think we could use our volunteers who are there with maps to help remind a band to, wrap it up and hand it over to the next oncoming band. Um,
How did the Thoreau School work out?
I think I never made it over there.
I didn't either.
And from what I hear, people were happy with that. Jen thought it worked well, and that we could maybe even use the cafeteria next year for that acoustic space for the individual artists to, share a rotating stage. One, I think, key thing is keeping Jen Montbach from feeling like this is the last year she can handle doing this. Because every year she was like, this is the last year. I don't think I can do it another year. But she's got, there's a volunteer in the committee who is very happy to be her customer service person who actually does this for a living. And she says where she ends up spending so much time is communicating with the bands and some with the hosts, but a lot with the bands, just back and forth. I can't do it, I thought I could do it that hour. Now I can't do it that hour. Equipment they're looking for or whatever. So the important note here is that that Porch Fest, I think, will continue as long as we continue to build a volunteer team behind it that can make it, less difficult to produce. And I think each year we've made big steps forward. And with this guy helping with customer service, I think that will help a lot. And that's
Great.
my report.
All right. Thank you, Jen. That was a big report. That's
Yeah.
good. Thank you. Let's see. And Sue Beck, you wanted to update on the sculpture project?
Yeah, okay. Well, as you know, we had permission to put a sculpture at Tea Cakes Plaza, but everybody became concerned about insurance. The town got a little shaky about being on private land. The owner was worried about people climbing on it, and so it started to feel cumbersome. So Mimi suggested we look for public land. I walked around and the island at the end of Commonwealth there, before it turns up to go to Route 2 is a good space, but there's ideas about changes over there. So I really wanted something that people would see as they walk around, and Junction Park seemed like the place. And it turns out that Green Thumbs wants a sculpture there. So I met with Janet Anderson and Cosette Dunn today. And there's when you first go into it, you cross the street from the rail trail and you just first go in. Right there's a spit of land, there's a tree in back of it, there's a spit of land with a bench right there. That would be a perfect place. So you would be able to see it from the street, you'd be able to see it from the rail trail, kind of beckoning people into the space. And again, we talked about the idea of maybe something tall without a big footprint, but tall with maybe a kinetic structure of some kind. They are also interested, what they want is some kind of commemoration of the fact that Junction Park is a cooperative endeavor, that it was Green Thumbs and the town and I don't know, what other groups, organizations they were with. And they would provide some kind of a plaque or something to go near this sculpture to say, this is all a cooperative effort of the various organizations that care about West Concord. So we could work that out. But I guess I'd really like to give it a shot to rent a sculpture and find out what we could have made. Something maybe with I was trying to make a list of all the industrial stuff that was there, something with train tracks and wheels and gears and pails and mill wheels or whatever, but something that would talk about West Concord's industrial past and see if we could find a sculptor to do something like that for us. So, whatever ideas you guys have, I'm not the artist here, but, so I guess the first step is Mimi has told me how to get in touch with people to see if we could use that land. And then once I know we have space, I'll get back to the New England Sculptors Association and start getting specifics about where we go from there. I'd love to do it.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So you're not planning anymore to rent a sculpture?
No, this would be rented. Yes.
Oh, because I thought you were talking about having somebody make something.
Well,
No.
what happens is they put out a call. You can tell them what you want. And they put out a call to different sculptors, and the different sculptors come forward and say, I could do that for you, or I have a sculpture like that, or whatever. So they put out the call for you for $750. They do all the administrative stuff.
Okay.
And you can tell them, I only want Massachusetts sculptors, or you could say, I just want New England sculptors, or you can say, I'll take it from anywhere. We'd have to work all that, what our desires are here. And I think, we can rent it if we decide we love it and want to keep it. They said you couldn't buy a sculpture to keep for anywhere less than $10,000. Well, that's too much of our budget.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if it's something we love and we want to put it in permanently, we could take $5,000 a year and buy it off or something. But I thought the first step was just to try it, rent one for a year or two and see how it goes. Yeah.
Question, Sue. The installation of the sculpture, do we pay for that or do they?
Yeah,
And-
that's all part of the process. So
Okay.
you work it out with the artist.
Okay. And what's
And
the
they
thing
said what most towns do is that the town prepares just the base. And he said, depending on how permanent you want it to be, you can put a cement base or you can just put down a rubber, some kind of, they have all these details about what kind of bases you can put in. And then you work out with the sculptor. And I don't know if you guys get a chance to go to the Burlington Sculpture Park. It's in Burlington Center. There's a big park. And then on one side of the park, across the street, there's the police station. And next to that, they've got the sculpture park. And that was done through the New England Sculptors Association. So
I
you
checked
get
it out
you
this
can get an
spring.
idea.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think part of the reason that that park's really cool is because there are like multiple sculptures of different types, and I think
Yeah.
we could aspire to is to almost have like a, like have them interspersed throughout the town. So it would be, we don't have a big grassy area like that to just plop them down, but to kind of have
Right.
sculpture be part of the aesthetic of West Concord.
Yeah. But if we have one really successful one, maybe we'll find a spot for another one.
Can add it to our mural walk.
Yeah. And then we'd have to decide, do we want, what limit do we want to put on this for the first endeavor, $5,000 or,
Mm.
I was thinking $5,000, see what we can get for that.
Well, we look forward to your update in October then. I'm sure you'll make some great progress by then. Sounds
Okey-dokey.
good. All right. Speaking of the mural tour, Chris, you want to give us a quick update on the installation of the plaques, etc.?
Yeah, so they're all up. And there's a total of 10. They now each mural has one of the plaques next to it, and then so the project is done for now, and since the design is a digital file, updates like sculptures or other things, they're pretty inexpensive to print these plaques, so we could update them. But yeah, they're that teal color that I think you saw at our meeting, and yeah, they hopefully will catch your eye. And has anyone seen any of the plaques?
They look great, Chris.
They do.
They really do.
Mm.
Nice
The one
job.
on the Bruce Green Rail Trail that's a little bit off the beaten path, that I was riding my bike by one day of the many times I ride by it, and that had blown over. So I'm wondering if there's some way we can make that one a little more substantial
I don't think we're talking about the same thing because that's screwed in with 6 screws onto the building.
onto
So,
the building. The one, no, I'm sorry, the one that's on that family's garage, Nancy and whatever it
oh,
is.
that was a freebie that
Right,
it's outside the cultural district,
I
and
know.
um, I just handed them the sign, and really, if you see that, just help them by putting it up. But it's really their responsibility, or so what Sue's talking about is Cottage Street. Um, Nancy Burchard and let's see. They painted the back of their garage. You may have seen it. You probably saw it. And I printed a lawn lawn sign, and it goes into the ground with those lawn sign metal prongs. And so they put that sign on the bank of between the trail and their garage, just to explain what it is and to promote the trail a little. So if you're walking by, just see if that's, as Sue was saying, knocked over or visible, and just prop it back up.
I put a really heavy log under the feet of it, so hopefully it'll stay in.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd say the last thing I want to do is to create a informational sign to go on the kiosk so that the the rail trail and the little red dotted line that shows how you could tour the village is plant the idea there as part of the kiosk installation.
That's a great idea. Yeah, nice work on that, Chris. I know it was a lot of work, so looks good.
Yeah, I think as anybody like Anne knows, or the poetry phone, it seems so simple at first.
At
Right.
first, right? That's why we're all applauding you for your efforts. Okay. Mimi, I had you on the agenda. I didn't know exactly what you wanted to share about wayfinding for the Brewsterman Rail Trail, but you asked to have some
Oh,
minutes.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, you can go ahead, Chris, and it'll take me a minute just to pull it up. I forgot that I was going to be talking.
Okay. I think maybe I'm jumping ahead, but I do want to also do an article for in the Bridge about that. And the question for this group is the uh, the plaques claim that people can visit the Concord Visitor Center website for more information. So one of my projects this year is to help, you know, uh, Beth or maybe Mimi or whoever is, able to improve, add that component to the visitors website. Um, so in the article, of course, you'd say, well, and people could also go on the website, or the plaque says that. So I'm of two minds. One is hold off on the article until it rings true, beginning to end, but that could be quite a while. The other is to just sally forth and have, plan, see if the Bridge will publish an article and let people go around and, you know, I, I, for the most part, it speaks for itself. It doesn't need the visitor's website additional information. Um, so I think that's a question either to just to get input on now, or later in the agenda when we do, projects looking ahead, is what you
So,
advise with that article.
Chris, I wonder if you could tie that to Discover West Concord Day, because it's kind of a nice theme, a nice tied together. You know,
Sure. You mean pitch it to the Bridge as um, I mean, it sort of is its own story, but I mean,
it
I would
is, but I was
certainly
just saying that there's
certainly
kind of a
mention.
nice tie-in, so
Well, actually, that's a really nice point to add, which is like, and when you're here for West Concord Day, make sure to.
yeah. A thought.
Any thoughts, initial thoughts on whether to hold off on the article or whether, since it's fairly fresh, to contact the bridge and see if they're interested in writing something now?
I
Wait,
like,
I'm not sure I
yeah.
understood. Is it you're wondering about it because if you actually go to the town website, it's not all of the information isn't actually there yet. And
There is information, but it promises more information about
right,
the you know, either
right.
the historical point that is mentioned or about the mural. So I think down the road that will exist. Right now, they just go to the West Concord page and, see the video.
Well, is there any plan to update the website? I mean, is
Yeah.
there like a deadline? It's going to happen by a certain date?
No, I think it's a work in progress that will take place, probably over the next year. Mimi can speak to that.
So I
Right.
wonder if for now it should go to Art for All's website for the
No,
information?
the
No.
the URL and everything is printed into the plaques.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah.
I don't see any reason to hold off until it's finished. I'd say like you could keep, you know, going at it. And anytime you hear anything about advertising, it's like you have to tell people like 12 times before they actually remember or take action or something. So
I think that's true. And we're all used to if you actually do dig down and follow links, they don't always they don't always work out that well. So we're just gonna keep being cheerleaders to the town for getting that done.
Great. Well, I'll reach out to the bridge and get that process started,
great.
unless anyone objects.
Yeah.
No objections.
Chris, thank you. Thanks for all your work on that.
Yeah, happy to do that. It was fun.
All right, Mimi, you're up.
Okay, I'm ready. So, folks who have been on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail have probably noticed that there is in other communities this dragonfly icon signage in their sections of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. So there was a set of design standards that were accepted by all the towns that were set up so that the idea is that um, these design standards so that it would kind of look consistent through the whole stretch of the trail. Concord got funding for that as part of a bunch of work on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. All the other parts of that scope of work for the grants got completed, but the parts related to these signs didn't. And basically it's kind of gotten fallen to me because I'm now the bench lady and I'm good at like getting small things in public spaces. So I've been designated to put in the wayfinding signs along the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. So these are the design standards. Unfortunately, most of the funding got used up, so it's not really quite enough to do like as awesome of the set of signs as we might like. I'm working on trying to see if I can get a little smidgen more money to be able to do it all. We don't have enough money to do a big sign like this, but we have enough to do some of these smaller ones that would help designate like the business district. And then these kind of directional ones that could say this far, 2 miles to West Concord Village or White Pond is that way. And so what I did was here is the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail here on our purple line. And I walked along and I took pictures in all these different locations. And I sort of looked at what were the key points of interest. And I maybe want to chat with a little bit to see if everybody agrees. Sort of this is the purple line is the whole stretch of the Concord area. And I included some spots that are kind of further out that people might want to know about. So up here is Narra Park in Acton, which has got bathrooms and swimming and a big parking lot. So people might want to know, and that's right on the trail. Here is Giroux, then Neshoba Brook, West Concord Village, then the Assabet Bluff path, the old rifle range and Kennedy trails. There is the Garrison building at the middle school, Dugan Brook, White Pond, then the Davis Field that's down in Sudbury, and then this is the Mass Central Rail Trail, which is another kind of be able to connect to the network. So I felt like those, in terms of like mile markers, it felt like those were the best places to direct people. The folks have any thoughts of like, are there other important, like super important things along the way that we should call out?
How about the train station?
So that's West Concord Village and the
Oh,
MBTA.
MBTA, sorry. Yep, you got it.
I kind of tied those in together.
Yep.
Just a thought about White Pond. I know that was a point of contention when the trail was being debated to even put in. And there was a worry about encouraging people to go down that bank and erode it, and also maybe not take great care of the shoreline there. And I don't know where that stands these days, but if it is a sensitive point still, I would really think hard about whether to put a sign there that advertises it.
So at the White Pond, I was thinking that might be a little sensitive, but now they have a bike rack there, signage already, like interpretive signage about the White Pond. There's a walking path that's been created. So I think that those concerns aren't, I think they have signs to not swim there, but there's definitely public access allowed at that site.
Well, then I might suggest the wording be something like White Pond Trails. You know, in other words, if you just say White Pond, that is very strongly suggestive of going to, you know, I don't know, swim. But if you say White Pond Trails, you at least give people the information, like there are, you know, there's a network of trails to explore. It's not all about swimming.
Mm. All right, so then the next step is I went and I looked at where are all the existing markers, and you can actually see there's actually quite a lot of markers already on the trail, but some of these are just like simple little like I don't know if you can see this. It's one of those granite ones which just has like the tiny little metal thing with the dragonfly on it. You know, some is kind of, you know, do not enter, that sort of thing. Nothing that, you know, some is at Powder Mill Road. They have these like big kind of store street signs ones. But none that sort of say until you get all the way to Sudbury around that tell you how far away everything is. So I sort of layered in my proposed signs, and I just kind of, what I'm proposing is that there be one right at the Concord line in Acton that basically will point and say West Concord Village this way, you know, make with the MBTA, you know, basically give a little distinction and sort of like a welcome to Concord kind of thing. One at Giroux that similarly gives you some mileage. One right at the Neshoba Brook. One at Junction Park, which I know is going to be a little controversial about putting a sign there, but this one maybe could be a kiosk, either a kiosk here or a kiosk at Neshoba, and maybe Neshoba could be one of those, one of this style sign that's a little more informative. So I'm sort of looking at doing this style one that's got the information, and then this other ones that would be a pointer that would say, you know, White Pond Trails, and then how many miles to it. Then do one at Old Marlborough Road, which would be just the mileage. One at the Old Rifle Range. They're planning right now, the Friends of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, working on putting a bench there. One at the Garrison Building School, and there's some folks that are working towards improving access. So right now, there's not a clear way to get from the trail to the middle school, and folks are looking at how to improve that. Do one at Powder Mill Road that lets you know, kind of how long to get it everywhere. And I'm putting a proposal to the town manager to funding for a mural underneath that trail, underneath that tunnel. Right now, it's getting a lot of graffiti on it, and
I was just going to put some really good graffiti there. Darn.
Doing a sign at White Pond, and a sign at White Pond. So there's down at this end, it's pretty sleepy. And there's already like kind of a cool granite thing into the road itself when you cross the town line. So just with that number of signs, which is only, it works out to be 3 of the small orientation signs and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of the distance ones. I'm already over budget by about $10,000. But I'm thinking I might be able to get funding for that. What I tried to do is kind of equally space them out along the distance. So any thoughts on the signage?
Maybe what's the purpose of the middle school one? Is that to help students know when to get off the trail, or is that considered a public? I'm just not sure what's up there, why you would mark it.
Well, there is a school there, and if people, while it's not an official path, I don't know if you can see in the Google map, there is it is possible to get up there. You can kind of see there's this like little shady, show you. There is this kind of little shaded area, so it's possible to get up there. I'm hearing that some parents really feel like we've got this beautiful way for kids to get to school out of the way of traffic.
But kids will know when to get off. I mean, if you're looking to trim a sign, I think anybody who is going to the middle school will learn very quickly where the path off is, whether there's a sign there or not. So I was
and that's possible.
Just to cut the cost.
Yeah, I am also looking at, because a lot of people try to tie in, it's more of like a park and ride kind of thing. I can't anticipate, especially in summertime, people might park at the middle school to be able to, and it's kind of a good spot to be able to go and you're not impacting other things. But that is kind of a lower priority spot.
Yeah, because to park there, they'd already know that the trail is back there. They wouldn't need the sign at the trail because they've already parked at the parking lot.
Or maybe to get off if you're not really familiar with it. So
Yeah.
So Mimi, I think this is great because I use the rail trail in both directions, all the way to the end. And it feels like Concord is missing signage compared to our surrounding towns. So I'm really happy to see that this project is underway.
So I'm going to be writing this up a little bit better. I haven't quite figured out how to present it quite well enough. I did a preliminary presentation to the West Concord Advisory Committee, which is sort of a subset of the planning board. I'll be sharing it with natural resources and with they're not an official committee anymore, but the Friends of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, and sharing it with some other towns. So the funding has to be spent, by August, but my goal is to be able to install these signs by the spring. So I'll be kind of shepherding it along, and we'll want to kind of dig in a little bit on some of the content of the sign, like specifically which things we want to call out, and the that kind of inner, the little maps for it. I saw in how they've done them in Acton. They actually have them just printed on paper and seem to switch them in and out. I think we could have enough funding to be able to do it like on a decal so that we can change them pretty regularly. So we don't have to it won't be the sign forever, but as maybe amenities change, we can highlight those.
Terrific.
So I'm not sure how involved the committee wants to be in terms of seeing iterations. Do you want me to come back every month? Want me to come back in a couple months after I talk to everybody? How engaged, since I know it's other than the ones that are right in West Concord Village, it's kind of outside the scope of the group.
I'd vote for every couple months. I don't think we need to hear every month, but that would be my vote. I'm interested because I do think it affects our thoughts about things. So
And when you feel you need our input,
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think we have to keep it on a tight schedule or anything.
Yeah. Okay. If I've got anything substantive, and you definitely will see it before it goes flying off. All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. That's a lot of work. We appreciate
That
it.
is, wow.
I hope it's been fun.
It's
Do I
totally
wanna-
been fun. It's like
Okay.
it's part of my job on a beautiful fall day to be walking the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail.
That's great.
And now we know why you answered the icebreaker question the way you did, right?
Mimi, I have one question for you. And so on the last sign, if it's the White Pond sign, there'll be something that will say how far it is to Framingham or to Sudbury, like to the next towns, or is that other towns' responsibility?
So my thought is, and once I kind of piece it out, that might be a sign that says how far it is to what's the one down there? Davis Field and Farm.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it's just across, and then further on, there's one to the Mass Central Rail Trail, which I think people would be kind of
Right.
interested to tie in.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Because I do get those questions from people on that trail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, well, what happens if I go down here?
Yeah. Yeah.
When does it stop?
Right.
Oh, goodness.
Cool.
Well, thank you very much. I'm mindful of time because it's almost 8:15 and we still have a few things left. So I would just ask those folks who still have updates to be as succinct as possible. And let's see. So website revisions, Chris, you've been busy.
Well, I've been working with Mimi. The thing to know is that there are two websites. So the town has a website that has a section where the committees are described. And this is the one I've been working with Mimi on. And then the visitor center has a website that talks about all sorts of things, including West Concord. So I think looking so ahead, I do have thoughts about how the visitor center site could represent West Concord even better. But that discussion hasn't started. And so I'm thinking that over the course of the coming year, that I would work with any of you interested. I work with Mimi or Beth or whatever the right, um, you know, group or process is. But to your point, Sue, Mimi and I met over the summer, and we talked through the organization, and in August I gave her photographs and text and things that she can now work with the web developer. I think her name's Donna, maybe, and implement those. So I feel like, Mimi, you can jump in here, but I'm not sure if you feel like you have everything you need in order to complete the town website version of our committee.
Yeah, there's two things happening. One, the town communications person is redoing all of the website. And so we're trying to, I had pitched to do this committee's website first because it's kind of got all the bells and whistles that anybody would possibly want. And then the second reason why I wanted to fast track ours is because when it got set up initially, it's doing some weird things that we're not able to lay it out. So I just wanted to start all over again. She had planned on starting in July and it hasn't even started. So it kind of really is her baby, but I am incorporating some of the like text changes that we recommended, and then the more substantive style things will have to wait for her.
Can I just throw in, did y'all get a chance to watch that 2003 video about the history of West Concord?
Yeah, it's good.
And I just thought that was really cute. And apparently there is a better copy of it, right? Did Mimi, are you the one who said it was on a?
The
So
one
I-
that's on the one that's on the Minuteman is from a jump drive. Is the highest quality that we've got.
Oh, that was the best one, huh? It's not great quality, but I don't know, it might be fun to put on our website.
I
mean,
think Fowler has a CD, has the original CD,
she
and
does.
yeah, and Sue, yeah, that may be higher quality.
Would it be higher? Well, okay.
Great.
Anyway, that's just something to think about. There's no
Yeah.
big rush on
Yeah.
that.
I think that would be part of the visitor center West
Yeah.
Concord page.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris, for your work, and Mimi, your work on that.
but maybe I just leave a question for the committee and for Mimi. It's like, how do we get the process on the visitor center website started? What do you recommend? Do we reach out to Beth? Does Beth reach out to us? Do you act as the liaison, Mimi?
Beth basically says she's done the changes that were requested. If we want to change the text, I've been given permission to be able to change the text, but we can't change the format. They have to use a special consultant to do more elaborate formatting, and they're just not open to spend more money on it. But if we want to change, kind of specific content, change out a photo, switch out text, I can help with that.
Okay, well, let's pick that up, maybe put that on the agenda because there were some changes made, but it does not represent West Concord as well as it should.
So in the interest of time, I'm just going to move us along, because I don't want to get down in the details. And I know it's a ton of work, so a work in progress. So thank you for that. And I will do my 5-second update on the Bruce Community Realtor mural and pollinator garden, because you've already seen the photos. They speak for themselves. So go by it and enjoy it sometime. Let's see, banner design for kiosk. Chris, Ann, anything you want to add in addition to the photo with the pom-poms and the framed thing?
Yeah, so Chris had reached out to me about wording in the correct dimensions to make a banner for the rail trail. So I did that on, what is that website called that you were just using, Mimi?
Canva.
What is it? Canva, yes. And then my printer would not allow me to print it in like multiple pages, because we had talked about how you could print part of it and then we could glue it and print more. So even though the file was the correct dimensions, however big Chris had communicated, the thing was constrained to 11 inches across. So it just didn't look good at all. So I put in a placeholder, knowing that we would reconvene at this meeting. But I'm not sure if I need to send it to a special print shop, or if someone else wants to take a stab at it. But yeah, that was just kind of where my technological prowess ended, was actually getting it from the computer into my hands in the right size. So, but I did add the pom-poms and that little frame and the sign. So I thought at least people will get the idea what we're doing here. And then the little sign toward the bottom about the committee and everything. So I thought for the time being, for the summer, it would kind of should suffice. But I don't know what your thoughts are, Chris. And sorry that I couldn't pull that off. I did try.
Yeah, I I think that it looks good for now, and there are ways that we can, make it even, and to improve it. But I think that's a conversation for another time.
All right.
And I don't think it needs much. I mean, it's working.
It does. It looks very festive.
Love the pom-poms.
Yeah. All right, Margot, you're up on the farm mural preservation, which was something we had budgeted some money for. So,
Okay, so Billy Crosby, the usual suspect, is going to be he's going to be putting a coating on the Bruceman Rail Trail, which it mainly protects it. Well, it protects it from weather. Mainly the sun, also some rain. There are some paints that don't do well over long periods of time with rain. So that's good. It's not the full thing, which is I think eventually it would be nice to perhaps on all of the murals have a anti-graffiti coating, but that's actually much more elaborate and more expensive. And I think most people are feeling like, that doesn't happen in West Concord. So, and actually, even for putting the graffiti coating, my understanding is it's good to have a protective coating underneath it. So in any case, we're doing this, and we've gotten that. I think it's underway. I expect that to get up by mid-October from Billy, which is great. I'm always looking at that and thinking, has it started to fade yet? So far, it looks fine. So
Great.
that's a quick update.
Is he doing the farm mural too? Because that was what we were talking
What's
about.
that? I'm talking about the farm mural.
Oh, I thought you said Bruce Freeman Rail Trail.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I did. I meant the farm mural because the Bruceman Rail Trail mural got a protective coating to begin with, and so did Fowler Library. This was the farm mural was the first. I mean, the music in the village on Reasons to Be Cheerful was the first mural we put up, but that's actually a print. It's not actually the real thing, so it didn't need anything. So the farm mural was the first one we put up, and I didn't even know about all of this at the time. So that's the only one that needs protective weather coating. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Margot. So I'll be quick on the Discover West Concord Day. So we've already mentioned that it's October 18th. And Margot and I and other folks have been meeting with the business owners in the town, coming up with some thoughts. So we're thinking of having a little pumpkin or treasure hunt from around the businesses to get people engaged and trying to expand the scope a little bit. So they head down as far as Adelita and deep into the, library and, the Concord Conservatory of Music, and trying to get people to really explore all parts of the town. And we as a committee don't have any specific tasks right now, although I've been volunteering us to do a few things. So when all that gets solidified, I can keep you updated. Margot, do you want to add anything since I missed the end of the meeting just a few minutes ago?
No, I just want to say, I've been involved in the village festivals for almost more than years than I want to admit. And, there's more engagement this year than there ever has been. And it's just great. And honestly, I'm so happy that that this committee has gotten more engaged in it. I think it's wonderful. It really makes this committee more like the businesses are getting to understand, the West Concord Cultural Committee. Yeah, they're really helping us out. They're doing something, so that's really good. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's terrific.
Great. The last thing on the agenda was ideas for new projects, but given that it's just about 8:30, I'm thinking that maybe we want to have ourselves work really hard on thinking about that offline and bring our very vibrant ideas and presentations to the next meeting if people are wanting to do that. If someone has some really burning hot idea right now, we could certainly entertain that. So offering that up for the committee.
I think waiting till next meeting's a good idea. And then
Okay.
maybe everybody will be here.
That's true. We're missing some folks. Okay, so the last thing we need to do before we close the meeting is a date. So I would propose, I think it's October 7th, I want to say, the first Tuesday in October. And do we want to do that in person? Try it for an in-person in the evening, because I know there's some people who are working still. Maureen, I know, is still working. I don't know about the rest of the folks, if evening's better or harder.
What, October 2nd or 7th?
7th.
7th.
7th, I think it is, right?
I-
I didn't look at the, yeah, 7th.
We're supposed to be the second Tuesday, aren't we? What's
Mimi's
today on the
putting, we're
website?
saying one.
We're generally the first Tuesday.
Oh, it's
because
the
of,
first? Okay.
Labor Day, we moved it to the second week this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna be out of town for the first 2 weeks of October, so I will need someone to step in for me as clerk.
okay, well, hopefully someone can jump on with Jen offline. If not, I can try to do both, Jen.
No, I can
Learn
do
the
it.
ropes.
You
Okay,
don't have to do
Thank
both. I can
you.
do it, Jen.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sue.
thank you, Sue.
Mhm.
Okay, so October 7th, and do people have a preference, Zoom versus in person?
Um, Zoom actually works for me in the evenings. Otherwise, I had to hire somebody for Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
But I can do that, and so you know, just needed to say that, and but I am am flexible. But since you asked,
Yeah, for sure. Well, I would like to aim at least one a quarter to be in person, because I think it really helps. It's just nicer to meet in person. So, so it doesn't have to be October, but that would be any evening, Chris, right? That would impact you. So,
yeah, and I can do it. And with Discover West Concord Day, maybe coming up close on the in October, maybe we should meet in person. Maybe that works better. I don't know of our involvement, but
okay.
So anyway, I'm being a little wishy-washy, sorry.
All right. Well, I would love to meet in person, and I'm happy to reserve space either at Harvey Wheeler or the library. So, unless anyone has any objection, let's go for that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Does anyone want to move to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn.
In second? I'll second it. All right, we have to go around and vote. Sue, Beck,
Yes, yes.
and Jen,
Yes.
and Mark,
Aye.
Chris.
I
All right, the meeting is adjourned and